Welcome back to Stop the Takes. We are not live on YouTube. It's a recorded episode, one that we have plugged a good bit over the last couple weeks, and especially on our video last week, if you haven't checked that one out yet. But it is here, Austin. Quarterback rankings for the 2025 NFL season. It's time, man. How are we feeling?
Feeling nervous because a lot of fan bases are going to get upset with us in this episode. People like to hate on rankings, but I think it's going to be fun to see where we differ in this and just have discussions. And kind of like I said on the last live stream, listen, we're going to try to bring some actual honest conversations about some of these players. And, these rankings are just projections for next season in 2025. We're not taking into career accomplishments and things like that. Otherwise, Aaron Rodgers would be number 2 on the list. So, yeah, just keep those kind of things in mind. And we're just trying to have an open dialogue here. And we're open to feedback in the comments as well.
100%. This is based on basically last year and how we feel going into next season. So it's not an encompassing of what their careers are. There's obviously some projection involved though of putting guys higher or lower based on, minimal sample sizes or things like that. We do not mean any harm to the fan bases that we may offend based on where the quarterbacks are at. I think quarterback rankings are a relatively subjective thing. But I think it's more impactful for fans that want to be blindly optimistic about a player. I think you and we've made it pretty clear on the show. Like we are not hot takes here, so it's kind of hard to do lists and then not come off a bit takey. But I think that's most impactful for fans that because you're a fan of X team, you have to say that your quarterback is the best in the NFL or top 5 when that may objectively not be true. So we're not trying to, and we're going to back it up with data and whatnot, but I want to preface with that, and to be honest, we'll get through this as we go on. It. I think there's a lot of sections where you could probably argue to make us move around guys, and we could hear out the argument. But there's going to be spots where, I'm sorry, people are not going to be moving.
Yeah, but your last point's a really good one though. Like a lot of my tiers, dude, it's interchangeable. Like there's 6 or 7 guys in a tier. You could convince me that the 7th guy should be number 1 and the first guy should be number 7. Like that's just how it is. I feel like it's more of a tier thing than it is a ranking. So don't get caught up in the rankings. Look more at the tiers, I think. And I'm excited to get into it, man.
Let's do it, man. Let's start. So right. We do not know each other's lists. So letting that be known, which is exciting. We've done that in the past with our top 5 off seasons. It's fun to do it this way. We've each broken them up, like Austin said, into kind of tiers. We don't have the same number of tiers, but I'm going to let Austin do his tiers first, starting at the bottom. So we're going to work our way to number 1. So if you are wanting to see the top quarterbacks, go ahead and, we'd love for you to watch the whole thing, but go ahead and skip to the end if you wanted to see our top 10. But without further ado, let's start at the bottom, whatever your bottom tier is and however many is in that. Let's get rolling.
I have one QB/team in my bottom tier. My 32nd ranked QB in the NFL, I just have it quoted as the Saints. Whoever wins the Saints job will be the 32nd best quarterback in the league. Tyler Shough is looking pretty rough in practice from what we've seen. And I don't believe in Spencer Rattler at this point. I don't think he showed enough last year. So, yeah, I've got the Saints at number 32, no matter who's quarterback.
I agree. I put Shough there just assuming he starts, but I agree with that. I feel like we've been ragging on Saints fans or the team the past couple vids, but again, he's not looked great in training camp. And if he is bad, you're going to get rewarded for that. So regardless, it's kind of easy to have an optimistic outlook as Saints fans because he's good. Fantastic. You nailed a second rounder. He's terrible. You get the number 1 overall pick most likely. So I agree. Shough is, or the Saints QB.
Yeah, that's why I just put the Saints for 32nd.
Yeah. All right. What's the next tier for you?
Next tier, I have the bridge. These are the bridge quarterbacks in the NFL. I've got at 31, Joe Flacco or Kenny Pickett. At 30, I ranked Daniel Jones. We had a QB battle video, Dakota, where we both thought Daniel Jones would end up being the Colts starter. AR is looking really good in practice right now, but there's still the injury question marks and all of that and all those concerns. So I've got Daniel Jones at 30. I've got Justin Fields at 29 and Russell Wilson at 28. Now looking at that, I kind of wish I flipped those two, to be completely honest with you, because I think Fields will probably have a better season. But yeah, Those are the bridge quarterbacks in the league. They're not long-term starters. They've got 1 to 2 year deals. And I mean, the teams are looking to replace those guys. I mean, the Giants already drafted Russell Wilson's replacement. The Fields will probably be replaced in next year's draft. So yeah, I've got the bridge tier.
All right, I'm going to give you my 2 bottom tiers then, because I think it'll kind of get us together here. So I have 32 through 30 or haven't played.
Okay.
So I'm doing that the way I view rookies. I just can't really rank you higher, just from my perspective. And I do have McCarthy in there. That was the last minute change I made because I wanted to put him higher because he has a year in the NFL. So I wanted to put him higher, but I have Ward at 31 and then McCarthy at 30. He's getting the bump on Ward because he's been in the NFL for a year. And again, this is not me thinking they will be the two of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. Just me personally. I gotta see it first. I got to see them play. I can't rank them above people that have played, even if they aren't good, just because of that. So they are in the haven't played tier. So you can almost exclude them from the list entirely because of that and not say they're even below these other people. The tier above that, I call purgatory.
Okay. There, I like it. That's a great name for it.
Coming in at 29 is AR / Danny Dimes.
Okay.
That could change. We've talked highly of Daniel Jones, but again, I need to see him do it with the Colts before I can project it. 28 is Flacco / Pickett. So we're pretty similar here.
Very similar.
And then I did flip right here. I have Russell Wilson at 27, and then Justin Fields at 26.
And honestly, looking back at that, I do regret that ranking. I think Fields will be better than Russ.
Just because the athleticism.
And the
athleticism, the age, yeah. I think, but I call that purgatory because I feel like even with Fields, we have not seen enough to believe. I feel these 4 teams are pretty much in, we need help at QB, but we haven't been able to solve that, and the Browns could be in position to solve it next year. True. The other 3 might not be though. And I put Wilson there because
is good enough to win 7 games or so with the Jets, and the Jets won't be in position to draft a quarterback.
Exactly. So I had to have my purgatory because I use that phrase a lot when talking about quarterbacks. Had to have a tier specific to those. So that is my 32 through 26.
So it's funny. My tiers are kind of, I just flipped the rookies and the bridge, right? You had the rookies ranked below the bridge guys. I have the rookies ranked above them just because I think the ceiling's way higher. Coming in at 27, I have Cam Ward. And then at 26, I have McCarthy. Listen, Ward could be better than McCarthy, but the KOC factor, Justin Jefferson, I think just the situation, McCarthy will have a better year. And these are 2 guys, Dakota, that could, at the end of the year, we look back and they had top 10 seasons. Like that's the ceiling on these guys. But I'm kind of like you, we have to at least see the NFL evidence first before we rank them higher.
I love that we did the same thing, right? Like you gave McCarthy the nod because I think we both like Ward more than McCarthy coming out most likely, but he has the year of experience as well, plus the KOC factor. So him even more than Ward, and I want to believe in Cam Ward, but the situation's pretty rough. I suspect JJ McCarthy will be much higher on this if we do a end of season QB rankings,
which might be fun looking back on this list, comparing it to what we were ranking.
How awful we were.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay, you want me to go with my next tier here?
Yeah. What's your next tier?
My next tier, I have the veteran question marks. Okay, these are guys that I think could lose their job depending on that season they have pretty quickly. I have at 25 Tua. I was telling you, I know 25 is pretty low for Tua. Okay. And don't hate me, Dolphins fans, but it's genuinely just the injury question mark, right? Like he has had so many concussions and he's not doing a good job of protecting himself. And that offense in general just doesn't look like it has the firepower that it used to. So I feel like Tua, especially if Mike McDaniel were to get fired this next season, Tua's job could be in danger, or at least they'd be looking to replace him soon enough. I do think Tua could get a lot higher in this list, though, in all fairness. I have Sam Darnold at 24. Dakota, me and you have both been questioning Sam Darnold with the Seahawks. There's just a lot of question marks there. If you look at the body of work of Sam Darnold, there's a lot more bad than good. With good play calls, by the way. That includes Kyle Shanahan. So I really question Darnold at this point. And then 23, I have Bryce Young. he has a question mark to me because we've seen such bad play out of Bryce, like some of the worst rookie quarterback play we've ever seen. But then he bounced back last season. So he's still a big question mark to me. Another guy that I could see rising on the list if he continues what he did at the end of last season. But I need to see it, and that's why he's a veteran question mark.
Nice. I do love how different our lists are panning out. I love this because it's a more like widespread view of this. So my next tier is too young to say.
Okay.
And I have coming in at 25 is Caleb Williams. I put him at the bottom there because he was very, very bad. His passing grade was 32nd in the NFL last year, outside of his pressure rate grade. So just saying that, like in general, even when he was not being pressured, his passing grade for PFF was just not very good. He's not shown me. He hasn't really shown any of that spark that he had in college that made him get generationally labeled for a little bit. So I need to see more from him. I suspect that I will. Again, I am, to be honest, everybody on here, right? Like, we are NFL fans. I want every single person on here to prove me wrong because that's better for the NFL. He's one that I suspect will be substantially higher at the end of the year. 24, Bryce Young. I gave Bryce the nod. He has the abysmal play, but he ended the season so well last year and graded better than Caleb that I had to give him the nod there and just the year of experience. He's one where he could be a lot higher, or when we were doing win totals, I could see it falling off a cliff again and him being down there with Shuck. That he has that in him. 23, Michael Penix Jr.
Okay.
So I put him at 23. I gave him the nod over Bryce. Minimal sample size, but he looked really good while doing it. And then I picked Drake May at number 22.
See, this is so funny. Our sophomores are genuinely completely flipped. I'll get into that tier in a minute.
That is crazy. That's funny. So I put May at 22 because I was more impressed by what he did with less.
Yeah.
Like, even with the grades and stuff, we love looking at passing grade stuff, but with him, it's just the situation around him was substantially worse than Michael Penix Jr. So I'm giving him a nod on the ability to not lose his composure. Because like we've talked about before with like Baker and other QBs, when they come into the league to a terrible situation, it can break you instantly. And he didn't seem to let that phase him. So that is my too young to say tier. For what it's worth,
is Bo Nix not in that tier?
He is not.
Wow. He's a believer.
And looking back in this, I should have. So for what it's worth, what I was about to say too is that I did not create these tiers until after I did my list.
Okay.
So it worked out where I had those 4 in a row, but I don't know why I'm a Bo Nix believer apparently, but apparently
pandering
I have a
to the Broncos fans. Listen, I like Bo Nix too, but he's going to be way off in my rankings. So my next tier, I have the sophomores. I have 4 out of the 6 sophomore quarterbacks. Again, all 4 of these guys, dude, could end up being top 10 quarterbacks in my opinion. That's how good they were their rookie years and their individual situations. And it's just a thing. I just need more evidence, right? We saw it their rookie year, and nobody was not like that insane elite level that Jaden was in. He was kind of in a world of his own. The other 4 guys are like, okay, all of them had points of greatness in their rookie year. We just need to see it again. So I have at 22, I have Bo Nix. I have Bo Nix at 22.
It's not drastically different from mine.
Yeah, okay. Then I have Drake May at 21, Caleb at 20, and Michael Penix at 19. So literally our 4 sophomore quarterbacks are completely inverted, which is hilarious. I'll just speak through it, like kind of like what you said. The only reason I put Drake above Bo, because Bo objectively had a better season than Drake May, like in every category, right? Like PFF grade, passing grade, statistically, Bo Nix had a better year. But kind of like what you were saying with Drake May, it was the situation to me that made it what he did more impressive. His situation was so poor in New England that the fact that he elevated a awful offense. I mean, it was the worst receiving core in the NFL, possibly the worst offensive line in the NFL, and he still elevated that team. So I was really impressed with Drake May. Caleb's a projection, right? You could argue Caleb had the least impressive rookie season out of the 5 guys that played, the 5 rookies that played last year, even though he did have signs of greatness last season. But I mean, I'm betting on the Ben Johnson factor. I'm betting on the talent on that offense. Like it's again a guy that I feel like could be top 10 at the end of the year. And then Michael Penix, man, Michael Penix, his level of play in the small sample size was unbelievable. He had like 8 big time throws against the Panthers in that game where him and Bryce were going back and forth. He was phenomenal in his small sample size, dude. Michael Penix was absolutely incredible last year. And I think he's going to cook, man. I think he's going to be really, really good. Again, another guy that I could easily see passing my next tier after this season.
Yeah, it's interesting. So what I realized my mistake is that for some reason when I created my cutoff, I just cut off between Nix and another guy. So he was next. So he's 21st for me. I was fixing my order there. So he is still in the too young to say. I don't know why I cut him off for the next tier. Why I did that in the middle there, but yeah. So he is still clumped with the others at 21. But yeah, it's interesting because I could see like with all those guys going any which direction. Like some could fall off, and then I like to believe in Caleb getting there. And I think, yeah, it's going to be interesting this season to see what the situations that they're in. And Drake May things getting a little bit better around him. Michael Penix starting out of the gate, for the full season. I think this season will be very different than last year in some way, right? Like people are going to move. They're going to move around a lot. They will not be together at the end of this.
You have to imagine, Dakota, with these 4 guys that they're not all going to be good. Like at the level that they were last year, the potential that they showed, it's just the likelihood of that is so unlikely, dude. In a quarterback class with generational talent, it looks like in Jayden Daniels, and then these next 4 guys, and then we've been talking about JJ McCarthy and the ceiling that he has. So if all 6 of those guys are good, for one, as a Colts fan, I'm pissed that we didn't get a quarterback in that class versus 2023. Same with the Titans. And but for 2, I would be shocked, man. Like, when's the last time we've seen something like that? Like the last truly great quarterback class is probably 2004. The 2012 class ended up kind of falling off because RG3 with his injuries and Andrew Luck with his injuries. And so 2004 and even 2004 was like top heavy with those 3 guys. We haven't seen the depth of a quarterback class like this in like ever. It's kind of unbelievable. So I expect at least 1 or 2 of these guys to end up falling off and a couple to elevate and maybe getting that top 10 elite conversation.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. All right, what's your next tier?
Next tier, I have solid starters, okay? And these are guys that I would be very happy with being my quarterback. Some have more question marks than others, and I think some have higher ceilings than others and have shown that. But these are guys that are solid starters. You'd be happy to have them on the team. I have 18, Brock Purdy at 18. I think Brock again. This dude, so this is 13 through 18. You could convince me of any order of these guys. You really could. Next up, I have 17, Kyler Murray. I think Kyler's high end play is really good, but then there's just weeks where he's just not there. So I have Kyler at 17. At 16, I have A-Rod. Aaron Rodgers was good last year. The problem was all the noise and the team success wasn't good, and it made it seem worse than it really was. At the end of the day, though, he was not as bad as it seemed. But I still, obviously, you have to question the ceiling of that Steelers offense. There's a ton of question marks around Aaron Rodgers, and then you add the factor of age. 15, I have Geno Smith. Geno Smith has been one of the most solid starters in the NFL. I considered putting Geno higher on this list because he's just been so consistent since starting with Seattle. And honestly, I don't see that ending with the Raiders. I think the situation is worse, but he has Pete Carroll with him, and I think Geno will be just fine for the Raiders. 14, I have Dak. Dak's a guy that has shown, like, I think can be in the top 12 some years. Some years he's been closer to top 8. But then you had last year that looked really bad. And again, there's a ton of question marks about this team with the new head coach and Schottenheimer versus McCarthy. So a lot of question marks with Dak. And he's also getting up there. Like, Dak used to be considered one of the young guys in the league. Now it's like, okay, he's getting up there in age. So age starts to become a question. And then 13, I have Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is a guy that at the end of the year could be top 6 or could be bottom 30. Like that's where Trevor is to me. His range of outcomes this season is so wide, man. But I have him at 13 because I'm kind of hedging my bet at 13. I'm like, okay, I don't want to look like a complete idiot when he goes off with Brian Thomas and Travis Hunter, but I also don't want to look like a complete fool when I put him top 8 and he plays like crap again. So I've got Trevor at 13, and that ends my solid starters tier.
Oh man, the more we talk about this, the more I'm like, do I even want to reveal some of this? I'm getting more nervous, man. It's so
no.
subjective in some ways. So here is my next tier: is above average to above average starters. It's kind of like your solid one. Coming in at 20 for me is Trevor Lawrence. I think he has just disappointed me greatly.
He has been disappointing. That's a fact.
He has, and I think I'm letting the fact that he just hasn't played well with a good, like with having Brian Thomas Jr. weigh this down for me. Where I think it's maybe the expectations play a role here, and I'm believing in some people's last season. So I had put Darnold just one spot ahead of him at 19.
Okay.
And it's just because like even his PFF grading under pressure, like he was pretty good last year. And if Kevin O'Connell just fixed him, his situation's going to be worse. But if he's fixed and we have most of last season Darnold, and to be honest, even if you got the exact same version of him where he has some really bad play in there, he's decent.
Yeah, it makes sense. Dude, Darnold was a top 6 quarterback in the league last year. Yeah. Like that's how good Darnold was an MVP candidate last year. So you're kind of like me with Trevor. You're kind of hedging your bet with that one. It's like Darnold could be really bad, but if he is truly fixed and he's just a good NFL quarterback now, then dude, he could easily keep himself in the top 10 every year.
Yeah, and the more I go through this, the more I'm like, maybe I did let some historical factor play within the tiers.
Okay.
At 18, I have Tua. I have Tua at 18.
Man, so I had Tua in the middle. Low. My Lord, I had Tua low.
I have him at 18, and it's because like the injury stuff is rough, but I don't know. With the offensive line has not been great, but having Tyreek and Jalen Waddle, like he's just not consistent enough. And you just need to see more out of him with a situation that's not that bad from a skill, players around him and a scheme that's really helped him be good. You got to see more from him. So
you also got to question the ceiling. Accuracy. You got to question the ceiling, especially in January when you have to go to the Chiefs, go to Buffalo, go to Baltimore. Those are all outdoor stadiums in the cold. Can he throw in the cold? He hasn't shown that. And in general, Miami has not been against good teams over Tua's tenure. So I think Tua just has a low ceiling, man.
Yeah. And then you'll see where I'm getting at here with my next tier. I'm going to go through mine all the way up to 11 since you went to 13.
Okay.
17 is Geno. I put him 17 because he's played really well and he's graded really well. I just don't know how much I feel like I can actually go win something with him right now. And that's kind of hurting me. And I need to see a bigger body of work. Kyler at 16. Kyler gets the slight nod above Geno just because of the rushing ability. I think what he brings to the table is a little bit, wider skill set. So I like that and give him a slight nod. So that wraps up average to above average starters. Okay. And now we go into my Matt Ryan inflection point.
Okay, I like it.
These are the quarterbacks. So it's the top 15. I think in the current state of the NFL, you could go on a run and win a Super Bowl with one of these quarterbacks. So that's the Matt Ryan inflection point was a thing. Was PFF the one? Was it Stevenson that had that idea?
It was.
Basically, that Matt Ryan was kind of the cutoff point where if you did not have a quarterback as good as Matt Ryan or above back in, the 2010s, basically, you were not going to be able to win a Super Bowl. And this is where I'm identifying that. So at number 15, I have Jordan Love.
Okay.
And I love Love. I'm a big fan of Love, but I have him at 15 because he's not been consistent enough. He's just not been. And it sucks. And it sucks because the situation around him has not helped. But I would like to have seen him elevate the team a bit more than he has. And I think that's my biggest knock on him. At 14, I have Brock Purdy. I have Brock Purdy at 14.
Dakota, we have to have a Brock Purdy discussion because I'm genuinely shocked. Just being friends with you outside of this podcast, hearing what you said about Brock Purdy in the past, I am shocked. Although I will say, the evidence does suggest you can go on a Super Bowl run with Brock Purdy, right? I mean, they just made a
Exactly.
Super Bowl a couple years ago with Brock Purdy. So I kind of see why you put him in that tier because he has shown that. And when those playmakers are healthy, Brock Purdy has played. Dude, during that Super Bowl run and that regular season, there was points where he was in the MVP conversation. So I mean, I can see that. I can see that.
And it's a tough one for me because I just think the way he controls the game is really well. You know, like I don't feel like he panics a ton and he takes what he's given a lot. I think he's just incredibly efficient. And the situation around him this last season was very hit or miss. Injuries happened left and right, and he never had a consistent offense around him. And he still finished top 15 and passing grade and passing under pressure with that situation. So I'm a fan. I think he's kind of solidifying himself. I don't know if he deserves the contract he got. Not going to say that, but with the current market and the way things work, you kind of have to pay him.
Yeah, you have to give him that contract. It's always tough with Brock, man, because it's like how much is it the situation and Kyle Shanahan and like could he just drag anyone to a Super Bowl? It almost feels that way. But at the end of the day, Brock is really good within that system. And I think he does elevate in that sense because it's not like, I mean, Trey Lance didn't work in that system, and Trey Lance was a top 3 pick, so it's not like they can just take any quarterback. So
here's where things are going to cause some fans to never watch us again. So coming in at 13, I have Jalen Hurts. I have Jalen Hurts at 13, and Eagles fans
will not like that.
Well, we got unfortunately the data backs it up. At the end of the day, my rankings are not based on winning football games. Winning football games is a team effort, and I will say that he is inherently a winner. But his passing ability specifically is just not great right now. And he has arguably the best situation a quarterback could be in the NFL. He has the best offensive line. Correct. And he has one of the best 1-2 punches with a great tight end and now a great running back who's a get out of the backfield. He was 29th in passing grade last year and 35th passing under pressure. And my point with that is that we don't know what Jalen Hurts is outside of this Eagles roster that has been built fantastically by Howie Roseman. But that is a concern where if you plugged him into the Patriots behind that offensive line, if you plugged him into the Dolphins behind that offensive line, what is Jalen Hurts? And I don't know. And he's still 13th because he's a winner. But to try to compare him to other quarterbacks simply because he just won a Super Bowl with the Eagles roster is kind of crazy to me. Because like his rushing ability outside of the tush push is still pretty elite. Like he has a very good rushing grade per PFF, and he's great at scrambling. He's great at taking advantage of read options and everything outside of the tush push that he probably doesn't get enough credit for. But passing wise is just not there.
Yeah, he's not as good as some of the other quarterbacks on this list. And I don't have him much higher. Spoiler alert. I will say he elevated his play in the playoffs, and that does matter.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about Mahomes later, probably in the top 5, hopefully in the top 5, or else we will be a takey channel at that point. But Mahomes is in a situation where it's like he's just not as good in the regular season as he is in the postseason. And how do you weigh that? Like, I feel like you do have to weigh the postseason a little bit more. And that's why Hurts isn't. I mean, dude, if you just took the regular season passing, you could argue he could be lower on the list, but since he elevates in the playoffs, he is like within your Matt Ryan, inflection point, and he's shown it multiple times that he can take the best roster in the NFL. By the way, it's not even like a debate. It's like overall defensively, what he has on offense, he has the best roster in the NFL. He can take that team on a run. But are you telling me a quarterback like Dak Prescott couldn't take that team on a run? Like, I just don't buy that. I don't. I think if you put Dak on the Eagles, he could go on a run.
And you lead me into my point, which is this is the section that I think is the most hot takey, which we try to avoid. But again, these 5 guys, you could reorder them and I'm fine, right? Number 12 is Aaron Rodgers. I still think I'm giving him props for the mental aspect here of just him processing the game of football. I think not his mental off the field, because that's going to hurt him. But I just think that what he can bring to an offense from just understanding the game, I think is still valuable. He's up there in age. I'm assuming he doesn't fall off a cliff. He still played pretty well last year. We thought the Jets situation was really good. Maybe it wasn't. I think on paper it still was pretty decent, but there were still some issues with the offensive line. They had to draft Armand Minbu to kind of resolve that. I just think Aaron Rodgers is still a tick better than some of these other guys. And then 11 is Dak. And that's probably really high for a lot of people, because last year wasn't great, but
he was an MVP candidate a couple years ago, by the way, people.
Yes,
Dak Prescott.
Man, for Dak, my evaluation on Dak is, man, what an unfortunate career in terms of the situation around him. Not just the players that put around him and everything, but just being in the Cowboys organization while Jerry currently today is losing his mind consistently. Still haven't gotten a number 2 weapon. CeeDee Lamb's still the only guy there. And the offensive line
they traded for George Pickens this offseason.
True. They did get Pickens, yeah. The offensive line has always been solid, but like offensive coordinator, head coach, everything has been a turning, revolving door. Nothing has been consistent. He's had some really tragic injuries that were brutal in the middle of having some of his best play. And I just think that is more of what we've seen. I think we have seen more evidence that Dak is a really, really good quarterback than we've seen of the contrary while he's been healthy.
That's part of this list that's an objective fact. And I get he's memed on. And you can question that. Like when you're comparing Hurts versus Dak, it's the regular season versus the postseason discussion. Mm-hmm. Because in the regular season, Dak has been a better quarterback throughout his career. In the postseason, Jalen Hurts has been a better quarterback, but how do you balance the team, the coaching, and I think Dak has been hurt from the team and the coaching and the organization overall. In Dak's prime, they signed Zeke Elliott to one of the worst running back contracts ever. And so they couldn't build around Dak. They signed Zeke to one of the worst deals in NFL history. And so that prohibited them to put pieces around Dak to elevate that team to potentially make a run. And Dak plays a role in that, right? He was part of the Packers collapse a couple of years ago in the playoffs. But I agree with you. I think a lot of it is an organizational failure. I mean, we're recording this while the Michael Parsons stuff is happening right in front of our eyes. It's amazing to me how Jerry loves to basically dangle the carrot in front of these players and make it a big, just a big media hoopla instead of paying the best at the second best edge rusher in the NFL. Any other organization would just do that. So yeah, I agree with you, man. And we don't have them too far apart. I mean, I have Dak at 14. You have him at 11. So it's
11, yeah. In the same tier, right?
Exactly.
For me, at least.
Yeah. And I think, and I honestly agree with you, dude. I think if you put Dak on a team like the Eagles, he makes the same run, right? He makes the same run, dude.
And most people hate the what if isms because people do that with Herbert all the time. But it's just
they're not going to like our Herbert rankings, are they?
And they're not. And because at the end of the day, man, winning football games, the quarterback has a big impact in it. But
massive
to ignore
impact,
but to ignore how much a situation consistent coaching can impact is just it's unserious. It's unfair, to be honest. And
it's especially when it's the Eagles. People have
with
to realize Howie
best
Roseman has been the best. It's not like he's hit on everything. He took Jalen Reagor in 2020, whatever. But that roster is unbelievable. They've had the best offensive line for 10 years, man. Their offensive line has been the best in the league for 10 years. They've had one of the best defensive lines in the league for 10 years. Jalen Hurts came into an organization that was the most well-ran in the NFL. And that has to be a part of your evaluation when you're looking at that comparing to other players.
It just does. And again, not to say, and I'm not saying he would be terrible elsewhere. We just don't know. But what we do know is that given a really good situation, his passing grades and stuff still just weren't that good. And I think one thing that is probably different on our list, and again, kind of covering larger ground, is I think I almost looked at a lot of this independent of playoff play. Because I'm thinking in my mind, what quarterbacks I would want basically to go play a 17-game season, and then there's that little bit of cockiness that comes with an OC or head coach where you're like, I could get the most out of them in the playoffs. It's almost that for me, where it's I don't care what he's done in the past. Give me Dak, and we'll go win in the.
We'll
You know what I
figure
mean?
it
Like
out.
I feel
You
like
take him out of that
yeah,
Cowboys like helmet, and it's
exactly.
just like he's loose in
Well,
the playoffs. All of a sudden, he's playing his best ball.
exactly. And to be honest, you made a point that I was about to make, which is you take Dak out of the Cowboys. He doesn't get he hated and memed that he does. If
No, of
Dak
course
played
not.
for the Dolphins, if Dak played for the Chargers or something, he would not get
That's a great
the
point.
hate that he does.
That's a really great point, dude. I mean, and that's what we're trying to get away from. We're not going to be
Yeah.
just the same old. I mean, how many people just clown on the Cowboys on the internet, dude? It's such a overplaying that like played like meme at this point.
Yeah.
It's just not really it's not funny anymore, especially when Dallas is like, and this is going to sound like I'm taking a shot at them, but they're not like they've not been super relevant in the NFL for
No.
the last 15 years. It's just so like why do they get the hate they get? I really don't understand it. And yeah, I agree with you. I think if you I mean the same thing was true with Tony Romo, man. I mean Tony Romo, if he wasn't the Cowboys quarterback, wouldn't have got the same kind of scrutiny that he got when he played.
Yeah, so there is my Matt Ryan inflection point group. Spent a good amount of time there, and hopefully didn't make too many fans upset. But again, those 11 through 15 could be rearranged, and I'm fine with that. It's just I just think that there's more nuance to this, and at the end of the day, quarterbacks winning does not determine how good of a quarterback I think they are. So I think that's probably the key there. All right, what is your next tier?
I have my next tier listed as franchise guys. This is kind of my
Okay.
Matt Ryan inflection point, if you
Yeah,
will.
yeah.
Um, I do think some of my solid starters could get into this tier, like Dak and Brock, and even Aaron Rodgers. I mean, Aaron Rodgers would be elite if we're talking 15 years ago. Um, but anyways, at 12, I have Jordan Love. Jordan Love, if you asked me at the end of last season, I would be very confident in this ranking. He was
Yes.
phenomenal at the end of last year. His play last year, though, was pretty disappointing in 2024. It was just a step back. And like you said, it's not like the Packers have done a fantastic job of building around him. It's a very solid roster, just no star power, especially at wide receiver. It's just a bunch of solid players and no difference makers. But I still believe in Jordan Love's upside and his talent, and at least he is like last year wasn't awful, right? He followed up 2023 with a solid season, so I still believe in him in that sense. At 11, I have Hurts. We just had the Hurts discussion. I
Yep.
think 11's pretty fair, man. I think, and it's not. Listen,
Oh,
we're in a time where 11 is disrespectful. To be the 11th best quarterback in the NFL is really good, by the way. At 10, I have Stafford. Now, I will take a break to talk about
top
Stafford.
10, yeah. I'm just to say too that looks like our top 10 is like the same guys. I
I think
think
so.
it's just the order. Yeah.
And yeah, and I think the top 10 is honestly this might be sound hot takey, but I think the top 10 is pretty like as far as like evidence
Feel
and
good about
projecting, it's
it. Yeah.
pretty obvious what the top 10 is. Um but that doesn't mean that guys can't move up, right? Like there's
Right.
plenty
Right.
of
Right.
dudes that can move up into this tier. Um I've Stafford. Listen, Stafford is a guy that if he's healthy this season, Dakota, the Rams can go on a Super Bowl run. That's just a fact. That's how much I believe in the Rams. But the health is a question mark. And I think he could be higher on this list if he didn't have that question mark. He's just getting up there in age, man. But good Stafford, dude. When Stafford's on, he's top 3 quarterback in the league, dude. And it's fun to watch. But sometimes you get bad Stafford, sometimes you get injured Stafford. But right now, I think he's still top 10. At 9, I have Goff.
Oh,
Golf has
interesting.
been Golf has been disrespected, I think. And like people continue to kind of disrespect Jared Goff and not put him in the top 10. And I mean, ESPN had those NFC rankings, and you said Golf didn't even make a guy's list in the top 5 for NFC. That's just asinine. And listen, you can argue the Ben Johnson factor and will Goff fall off with that, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, he's really good within a system. He took Sean McVay's system to a Super Bowl. He has the Lions cooking, right? Like they were disappointing that they lost in the divisional last year, but I think it was just unfortunate that they went up against Jaden with that banged up defense. And honestly, dude, I think Golf's going to be fine. Like I think they're going to be fine. I don't think there's going to be a massive fall off without Ben Johnson. I really don't. And he's been one of the most consistent guys in the league since he's gotten into the league. Um, Baker, I have at number 8. Baker is listen, man, Baker's can be volatile, but again, kind of like Stafford, when he's good, dude, he's one of the best. And another team in the Bucks that I think can make a run this year. 7, I have Stroud, CJ Stroud at number 7. Again, after his rookie year, people were talking, "Oh, is he in the top 5? Is he entering that top 5 range?" And I listen, I have some question marks about Stroud. I specifically have question marks about the Texans more than Stroud because I think the Texans are starting to fail Stroud in a massive, massive way, and they have a ton of question marks going into the season with the offensive line in particular. But listen, there's something about a guy that consistently wins his division, has won 2 playoff games in back-to-back seasons. There's something to that, man. Getting in the dance every year is so crucial. You give yourself an opportunity to win it every year if you're in the playoffs. So I got to put Stroud at 7, and that is my franchise guys tier.
Oh, man. All right. I obviously have the same guys, so I'll share mine as I go through them here. So at 10, I also have Stafford. I agree on that. 10 is Stafford. I moved him a little bit around before I finalized this, but I think the age, like, it's interesting because he's one where like his grading does not match up with how I feel he plays because he honestly is not graded super well with PFF. But the guy, he makes big plays in big moments pretty consistently, and I completely agree. Where the Rams, if he is healthy and his arm isn't shot at his age, the Rams can go on a run with Matt Stafford at the helm. So I have him as 10 as well. Coming in at number 9 for me is CJ Stroud. Okay. I have Stroud at 9. You know, he did not play anywhere near as bad as people want to think that he did last year. They think this fall off happened, but really I think the situation around him fell off more than anything. He was still top 13 in passing grade and passing under pressure with PFF. I think he did take like a mini step back and didn't grow linearly like people want to see. And I think 2 really great seasons of him. I'm putting him at 9. And then at 8, I have Baker. Okay. So we have Baker both at 8.
Landed at the same spot. Okay.
Baker is 8. I think, man, he has probably been one of the most underrated in the NFL over the past couple seasons. Like the guy was like tied for first and I think second in passing yards and touchdowns this past season. His problem is, and he's top 10 in PFF grading in both those statistics.
The turnover where they plays.
Yes, and it's the impact of them because he tends to have them in the worst possible moments, and it's ones where like, you know, if even if guys like Lamar or Josh Allen have a fumble here or there, like it's redeemable, like they can recover from it. But Baker tends to have those in like the worst moments where it's like you kind of pinpoint the loss on him, and if he could just eliminate those from his game, he could continue to elevate up this list. But I have him at 8 for now. Coming in at 7, who I suspect is your number 6, maybe, is Jayden Daniels.
Okay.
I have Daniels at 7.
You'll be surprised.
And man, I think
you're high on golf, dude. I love it.
I am. I love it, man. So I might just finish. I don't know. I may not finish my top 5. I'll cut off at 6 here, I guess. I don't know because I have this section is called greats. Okay. So this section is just called greats. But yeah, Daniels at 7 for me. It feels a little weird to put him above Stroud, but like, man, was he special. And after all the stuff about too young to say, and we got to see more, it's like, maybe I feel like I'm overrating one season of good play. But if I went back and watched some of him, oh my gosh, dude, like the throws that he made, his ability to keep calm
under
Bengals
pressure. OT. Oh, dude, Jayden was so good.
In the corner of the end zone on the right side, like, he just passing wise, and again, Eagles fans are going to hate hearing this, but passing wise, he was elite last year. He was elite
compared to Hurts.
It was, and with a worse supporting cast that may get worse this year, which I would hate to see.
They gotta pay Scary Terry, man. Pay that man.
If you don't, Jayden Daniels could regress next year because of that, and his offensive line play was okay. But what I think Jayden may already be the best at in the entire NFL is scrambling. Not
man.
Designed runs, but scrambling. Lamar's the best runner. He just is. But scrambling-wise, ability to evade pressure and just make something of it, elite. And doing that immediately at that level was ridiculous. And honestly, Lamar kind of did the same thing because people just can't tackle them. But He comes in at 7 because of that for me. Just a phenomenal rookie season, and if he just plays the exact same next year, I think he still deserves that rank.
I agree, man. I'm so high on Jaden. And we've been kind of like priming Commanders fans to say, hey, there could be a regression. And I'm still gonna
Yeah.
stand behind that. But I think there was levels between Shaden's rookie year and Stroud's rookie year, both phenomenal, right? Both absolutely incredible. But I think Jaden's was better. I do. And it's not just because he went to the NFC Championship game. I just think overall it was better. And coming out of college, dude, people were questioning, okay, Jaden's sack avoidance. Like he tries to extend too much, kind of like Caleb, right? It's a very similar conversation. The difference is Caleb's played out last year and it was a problem,
Yes.
right? He couldn't avoid the sacks that he could avoid in college. Jaden could. Like Jaden could. And Jaden is in that category of Lamar and Josh Allen. And I think that's it. It's Lamar, Josh Allen, and Jaden Daniels of who do you want on 4th and 2? Give me those three guys. Those three guys on 4th and 2 are quite literally unstoppable. You like no matter what. And that was what made the Commanders so dangerous last year. Dan Quinn was like, listen, I know what I have in Jaden Daniels. I'm gonna be aggressive on 4th down and let him do his thing. And dude, in those short yardage situations, you might as well just be like, what, like, we just got to give it to him. Like, don't even say, oh, we get, if we just get past 3rd down, we're good. Nope, because you have to worry about Jaden on 4th and 3 or 4th and 4, 4th and 2, and he's going to convert and extend the drive. So Jaden is so special in that way, and he's in the tier of his own with Josh Allen and Lamar as far as that's concerned.
Yeah.
So I'll just get into my next tier. Elite adjacent. This is my elite adjacent tier.
I like that.
Made up of 2 guys.
I like
number
this.
6, Justin Herbert.
You got Daniel.
The what if social media quarterback, if you will. Listen, man, Herbert is elite, dude. Like or elite adjacent in my words. Yeah. So, I mean, and again, Herbert's a guy that it's very fair to question his postseason play. He has had some meltdowns in the postseason, and that's entirely fair. But at the end of the day, in the regular season, he's been one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL on a throw by throw basis. And again, a lot like Stroud, it's like I at least want my guy to be able to get me there, right? I have to get there to have a chance to go on and run for a Super Bowl. And Herbert's been able to do that on a pretty consistent basis. So Herbert's at number 6. And I get a lot of people on social will think that's too high because, the what if, whatever. But I still am very high on Herbert. I have Jaden at number 5, man. I just got done talking about Jaden and why he's number 5 for me. Listen, I think this ranking worries me a little bit, Dakota, just because we have been talking about the potential regression and what happened with Stroud. But I think what the Commanders are doing, as long as they pay Terry McLaurin, I think what they're doing is they're building the team in a better way than the Texans did. And I think they focused on the offensive line, which is good. They just have to lock down his number 1 receiver, because if they don't re-sign Terry McLaurin, 100% Jaden's going to take a step back. And it's just because having that elite number 1 guy is so crucial to an offense. And if you take that away from him and you rely on 30-plus-year-old Deebo Samuel to be that guy, it's not going to work out well.
I like it. That's, yeah. I will now catch up because I knew we would agree on this. The top 4 thing is very clear cut in my opinion. Number 6 for me is Jared Goff. And I know I have him a bit higher. I just talk about underrated as well. The last 3 seasons in Detroit have been phenomenal by Goff. And for a portion of that, they've had a great offensive line for the majority of that. But I don't think they've had a great supporting cast necessarily that entire time. I love Amon-Ra St. Brown. I personally think that the hype on him is a little overdone. Like people trying to clump him near Justin, and he's not Justin Jefferson and Jamar. Like he's just not. And J-Mo has been very hit or miss. And then outside of that, it's been a revolving door of Tim Patrick and Josh Reynolds or whatever. Laporta wasn't here until 23, and he still had a really good season 22. So I just think Jared Goff right now is playing phenomenal football. and has elevated his team. There have been moments still with Goff's play that he has crumbled, and the playoffs was an example of that. But again, I'm kind of trying to separate that a little bit. But they were this close to going to the Super Bowl with Goff. And last year, to be honest, it's one of those situations with the Commanders game where you play it 10 times. That was the one scenario, or even 100 probably, where they get blown out like that. But his ability to elevate this team has been insane. Because like the first season, first couple maybe, I mean, even in 22, they started to get things together. Like he owns that, and he is the quarterback for the city, the franchise. And I think he deserves a lot of credit for the success the Lions have had. And you and I, we kind of talked about the Stafford trade stuff, and the Lions also won that trade regardless of the Super Bowl aspect, just because of what the Lions have become, because of Jared Goff. So
we might have to make a video on that, man, and set the record straight, dude.
The man deserves his respect. But it's also he literally went 18 of 18 in a game last year as well. Dude was perfect. So I have Goff at 6 because I think he is the essence of elevating his team right now and doing it with a supporting cast that I think is good but not great, to be honest.
And you got Lions fans on our side by putting him at 6, but then you took a shot at Amon-Ra, so now they hate us again. Now they're out on us. So
everyone has to, if they're on my team, they have to be the best in the NFL.
Listen, I think Amon-Ra is definitely good, but I mean, I agree with you. He's not in that absolute elite tier of receiver, but I just think his skill set's a little bit different. But you could absolutely argue that Jared Goff is a key driver in a lot of those playmakers elevating their play. Like, because like you said, J-Mo, he's developing, and he looks like he's primed for a breakout year. But you could definitely argue Goff is part of that development. And same thing with Amon-Ra. It's not like he was a highly touted prospect coming out of college and didn't have the elite level athleticism, but then Goff, took him and helped develop Amon-Ra too. Now I think Amon-Ra is definitely up there with, he's an elite receiver. But you could just argue that Goff is the reason he's kind of developed into that, or at least a reason he's developed into that. So yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I think Goff is absolutely disrespected, and I could see him at 6.
Yeah, and I think the thing that probably would draw him down for most people are the turnovers. And really, again, he kind of has the Baker issue of like when he does have them, it's a rough moment. He threw a pick in a game last year that led to a game-winning field goal by the other team. And again, this is kind of me. I always make jokes about like the cockiness of OCs and stuff, thinking they can get the most out of a quarterback. But I think I almost did this in this list where I'm like, I could, if we just got rid of that, not saying I could do it, but if we just got rid of that. And one thing to note with Goff that's just kind of insane is he's going into year, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. He's going into year 10, and he is 30. He will turn 31 this season, and he's going into his 10th season. So like he could be still playing for another 8 years, man. It's kind of crazy. Yeah. So if he continues to play at this level, we'll be starting to have some really interesting conversations over the next few years. But number 5, you know who it is. It's Justin Herbert.
The what if QB.
The what if, the meme QB, the social media QB or whatever.
God, Emmanuel Acho's such an idiot.
Oh my gosh. That is the essence of the takes we are stopping, by the way. That is the essence of it. So Justin Herbert is elite Jason, very much so. He is his pure passing ability is one of the best in the NFL, and he does it well under pressure, and he does it when not. Like he has been he's probably in that Dak but worse situational thing where he has had nothing around him for most of his career. I think Keenan Allen was there for probably like a year or two when he was already getting up in age, and like he's just not had a true number 1 wide receiver. The offensive line has gotten a lot better.
Interior's some question marks, though, to be honest. Interior's never been great.
He had not a great coach, Staley. Like he's just not had anything consistent around him for a minute, really. And outside of all that, you take that all away and just come down to what Justin Herbert is as a quarterback, and he is a fantastic quarterback. That's just what he is. I don't care about the winning aspect as much in terms of like the team winning success. Oh, who would elevate their team to win? And yes, he should do that more. And he does have an issue with like not winning in, head-to-head games against elite teams and whatnot, and the playoff situation stuff. But like at the end of the day, from my perspective of ranking quarterbacks and what they are as a passer and a true quarterback, he's the 5th best in the NFL to me.
It's totally fair, man. And if you look at the four guys ahead of him, and everyone really knows the four, they're on our graphic there. Like, you can obviously easily argue Herbert's had the worst situation. You can say,
Yeah.
well, Burrow has a worse line, which is true, but then he has the two amazing wide receivers. Like T. Higgins would be the number one wide receiver on any Justin Herbert team since he's been in the league. So it's like, even that's like, you probably take Burrow's situation, and then obviously Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and Josh Allen all have better situations than Herbert. That's just a fact. They have. So that has to be a part of the conversation. But again, the reason Herbert's not in that tier is because late in big games, like, and this does sound like a shouty show thing, but it's there's something to this, right? When you need a drive in the fourth quarter in the postseason, you're still going to take Mahomes, Burrow, Lamar, or
Yes.
Allen. That's just what we've seen so far. Now, I think Jim Harbaugh can change that. I really do.
Yeah.
I think pairing Harbaugh with Herbert, they will see team success at some point. The roster still needs work, though. They still need to give him that elite weapon. And Lad's good. Lad's really good. I just would love to see Lad as number two. Like, if it, or even get a solid number two for Lad, then I think the offense will be elevated.
Agreed. All right. So now I'm guessing we both labeled this as the elite tier, which
Yes,
I think is
the elite
fair.
tier.
That 12% of the NFL, 4 out of the 32 quarterbacks being elite makes sense as well, I think. So, all right, what is your order for the top 4 quarterbacks?
At number 4, I have Joe Burrow. At number 4, Joe Burrow, Joe Shiesty. Listen, the only reason he is 4 and not above these other guys is because of that, like, 4th and 2 factor. Like, he just doesn't have that. Passing, though, like, as far as a passer, I mean, you take him with the best of them, right? Like, you just, but he just doesn't have that second element to his game of extending plays, or, the running ability like Lamar and Josh Allen have. But he's fantastic, dude. He had they made the playoffs, he probably would have won MVP last year. It's kind of a goofy thing. Like, that's a little bit stupid to me. That's like one game causes him not to win an MVP. When really, like, the season as a vacuum wasn't on Burrow whatsoever. I mean, he was working with the worst defense in the NFL last year, and their line still has a ton of question marks, and he's kind of navigated that his whole career. And listen, they're going to be a threat, man. They're probably going to be back in the playoffs this year. They can make a run. That's the thing. Had the Bengals made the playoffs last year, Dakota, I mean, they were going to be the scariest team in the postseason. There's no question about that. They could have beat anyone because they can literally hang 40 on any team in the NFL any given week. That's how explosive that offense is. And it's led by Joe Burrow, man. He's fantastic.
How do you want to do this? Do you want me to reveal my number 4 or give my analysis on
like that.
My number 4?
Yeah.
All right. My number 4 is Mahomes. I have Mahomes at number 4.
Mahomes at number 4.
Because I think the 3 others of Burrow, Allen, Lamar, I just think they've been better. And I think if I'm in the Super Bowl, sure, give me Patrick Mahomes. I'm in a postseason run, but like overall, currently the last season, going into next year, I just think the other 3 are better. That's not to trash Mahomes, but I just think the elite, truly transcendent elite play we saw in like 2018, 2019, parts of 2020 and 2021, like it's just
regular season.
It hasn't been there lately, and I need to see that full body of work from him. Because yes, when you get to the postseason, you don't want to face Patrick Mahomes, but to be honest, he's also been very helped and aided by an elite defense, and mainly an elite defensive play caller and Spags. So he's still top 4 elite. And again, these 4, like we say with anybody, any given year, these are going to shift based on an individual season. And I think I'm probably basing it off of last year, in my opinion, of going into next year. And I just think Mahomes was 4th. Obviously, if we're doing an all-time list, that's very different.
He's number 1, and it's not debatable.
I just think that I don't know. I just think that the other 3 have done more lately. And going into next season, I feel more confident in them overall, like who they are, what they're doing, and passing wise. And Mahomes has had some subpar play lately. The other 3 just haven't as much.
And I'll just reveal mine. I have Mahomes at 3, so okay. I'm not too far off on you. And and in our defense of our list, because again, if you're going all time, of course, Mahomes is number one without question. But like, dude, you can say, oh well, he's sleepwalking through the regular season. He's the Andy Reid saving all the good plays for the playoffs. Dude, if you flip those one-score games that they had last year, they're not in the position to make the playoff run. They might not even win their division. They could have lost the division to the Broncos if all those wonky things didn't go the Chiefs' way last season. So it's like, at some point you have to stop walking through the regular season, and you can't keep getting away with these crazy one-score wins, and it's going to impact your playoff positioning and your seeding and getting that number one seed. So I don't think that argument is kind of lost on me, man, because it's like, I don't think they're intentionally playing worse in the regular season. I just don't think they are. No. I will say though, if I'm taking, well, I think it's a debate between him and Josh Allen, because Josh Allen has been absolutely elite in the playoffs, dude. I have absolutely no qualms whatsoever about how Josh Allen has played in the playoffs. You could even argue for Burrow's problem, he doesn't get there as often. But Mahomes is amazing in the playoffs. He does elevate his game. He consistently does that. And you can also, in his defense, you can argue part of the reason they haven't been as good offensively last couple of years is because the tackle play has been a kind of terrible. Let's be honest. The tackle play recently for the Chiefs has been really, really bad. They had to play Joe Thuney at left tackle at times last season. They kicked out their left guard to left tackle. That's never an ideal situation. And we'll see if Josh Simmons can come in and fix that in the draft. But I think that's one thing where I'll say, okay, Mahomes, I'll give him a little bit of grace with that. But to your point, you can argue part of the reason they're able to go on these postseason runs isn't just Mahomes' play; it's the elite play calling of Spags and Chris Jones and that really elite defense in the playoffs that aids him a lot. So, yeah, I think over the last couple of regular seasons, you can absolutely argue the top three guys have been better than Mahomes.
Yeah, and that's where Burrow comes in at 3 for me.
Okay,
so we did just have them flip. And I think Burrow's again, it comes back to like Heisman stuff a little bit where like Genty didn't win it. It's all, and weirdly enough, Travis Hunter wins it where their team didn't do great. But like, I mean, all intensive purposes, Joe Burrow probably was MVP last year in terms of the sense of the word and what it means of value. He was number 1 in passing grade, and he was number 1 in passing grade under pressure. And that's another knock I give on Mahomes, that both Lamar and Burrow, Allen is like right next to him, but Lamar and Burrow are both better under pressure than Mahomes. So that gives a little bit of a knock for him as well, because Burrow's been playing behind a bad offensive line his entire career and still plays as elite as he does. But like you mentioned, when Mahomes left tackles and in the Super Bowl with the Eagles, like he falls apart to some degree.
Falls apart,
like
dude.
He almost completely collapses. And so I gave Burrow the nod because last season he was special. He was special and led the league in passing. And I just think because of that and looking at some of the grading and whatnot, I just give him the knock over Mahomes currently right now. And I think Burrow got disrespected because they didn't make the playoffs. I think he got slept on a good bit last year.
And how much you have to weigh in the Andy Reid factor, man? I mean, Andy Reid
versus Zach Taylor.
You can exactly versus Zach Taylor, which has been not great. Let's be completely honest. Andy Reid, you could argue Andy Reid has an argument for the greatest coach ever, man. Like, that's with what Andy Reid has done. And listen, Andy Reid needed Mahomes to get over the hump. He did. That's a fact. He was in the league for years and could never get that Super Bowl. But he took so many different style quarterbacks, so many different level quarterbacks to success in the playoffs. Andy Reid has one of the best, coaching legacies of all time, man. And I think that has to be part of the conversation when we're talking about Mahomes and ranking him on these kind of lists. But again, Chiefs fans, he would be number 1 overall, even above Aaron Rodgers for me if you ranked everyone currently in the NFL.
And he's kind of the victim to his own incredible success he had in 2018, because we know what he can be every game. We know that he can be one of the a top 3 quarterback of all time. We know he can be that. So it's more of me judgment on that of like, Mahomes, get back to that, man. Like, I want to see that more again.
And Chiefs showed up in the Super Bowl. Like, I keep talking how he elevates in the postseason. Well, I mean, he has one less ring because it showed up, and it's not all on Mahomes, obviously. That'd be an absolutely idiotic thing to say. And we
Yes.
just mentioned the left tackle play, and even the defense didn't look great in that game. They were just outmatched overall. But yeah, he's still 3 for me, 4 for Dakota. He's still one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah.
So,
And again, these top four guys, every given season independently, it will be
yes,
different.
and flip.
And now
Exactly.
I think ours are flipped here as well for what it's worth.
Wow.
And I got my reasoning to back it up. So
Okay,
you
I like
do
it.
yours. Reveal 2 and 1, and then we'll discuss them.
I've got number 2, Lamar Jackson. You're right. I think you have Lamar number 1, which is interesting to me. I'm gonna go to bat for Josh Allen for number 1 now. But Lamar has been phenomenal, man. Lamar has been, I mean, one of the most elite weapons in the NFL. I mean, as a passer, as a runner, in the design run game, Lamar Jackson is quite literally the greatest to ever play at the quarterback position in the design run game. He's unstoppable, man. He's unstoppable. And it used to be a meme that he was a running back or whatever. He's one of the best passers in the league as well now. Lamar's question to me, and the reason I'll argue Allen over Lamar is his play has fallen off in the postseason consistently. And people will bring up how, well, he was fine last year in the postseason. If you remember, we watched this game together, Dakota, Bills versus Ravens. In the first half of that Bills versus Ravens game, Lamar Jackson was not good. He just wasn't. Now, he played great in the second half, and I feel like his teammates around him, in particular, Mark Andrews, failed him late in that game. But in the first half of that game, Lamar was not good, and Josh Allen was great throughout the entire game. So, and we're nitpicking here. Like, it's 1 and 2. We're talking about future Hall of Fame players now. Like, we're in future Hall of Fame territory. Lamar has 2 MVPs. Like, he's on his way to the NFL Hall of Fame. I just think if I'm looking at the complete body of work and regular season and postseason, right now I'll take Josh Allen over Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, and I again, this is that one that's fine. Everybody will pinpoint Lamar's overall playoff stuff. I think my reasoning for him being number 1 is I think more than anybody in the NFL currently, he is the key to their success. And I think without Lamar, the Ravens would fall. And like the level at which he's doing it is insane. Because to be completely honest, he probably should have won MVP last year, and he didn't because he just won it. He had over a 10-to-1 touchdown interception ratio, which is absurd, 41-4. And when he went to the playoffs,
41-4.
He had a 41-4 and didn't win MVP.
Man.
And in the isolating last year again, because as we're going in the next year, he did outgrade Josh Allen by 13 in the postseason collectively. He outperformed him in their game head to head and overall in the playoffs. So he had an elite game. It didn't, but in the wild card, he had an elite game, and I'm putting him at number 1 because I think he's also an interesting stat. He is the best quarterback in the NFL under pressure per PFF grading last season. He was the best under pressure, not passing grade, but just purely out of offensive grade. And passing grade wise, he was number 2 behind Burrow. I just think that, and again, I feel like Lamar is almost being slept on too, to a point where Mahomes did, but in a different way, where it's like he had the MVP seasons. And so we're like used to this, but he was even better last year. He was way better than his MVP, his second MVP season.
I will say though, what I would have done with MVP, I would have just inverted when Allen won it and Lamar won it. I think Allen should have won it the year Lamar won it, and I think Lamar should have won it last year. But I mean, I think these two guys, and how about, I just got to touch on this. How about the 2018 NFL rookie draft class for quarterbacks, man? I mean, that it really, and this is again going to sound a little hot takey. It kind of saved the future of the league. Like, and you could say, well, another guy would just plop right in there, but these guys have been the guys since the Peytons and the Bradys and the Breezes left. Like, they immediately took over. And I mean, we both have 3 of those players, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Baker Mayfield, in the top 8 in the NFL, dude. And yeah, it's just incredible. And then Sam Darnold's still on our list as well as a starter in the league as well. So it was a really, really good class. Had to note that, but yeah, and again, we're splitting hairs, man. I would take Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson 100%. And it was a debate for me. Like I debated both of those guys as well, but I just and it's interesting. The grades are interesting because overall maybe Lamar did play better in that game, but I just remember in the first half we coming away thinking, man, Lamar has not played well. And Josh Allen also had to play another game, but man, it's just tough, man, because I feel like Allen has gotten unlucky in the playoffs, but overall in their careers, Lamar Jackson has been not good in the playoffs. Where like I feel like Allen just got kind of not screwed, but just again, it's unlucky. The 13 seconds, the QB sneak last year, that should have been a first down. Like all these things that have went against Allen, I feel like we could speak. I honestly feel like, and maybe this will get Bills fans on our side. I really feel like we could be talking like how we do about Mahomes, about Josh Allen. Like if those games just flip and Josh Allen has 2 or 3 Super Bowls, then all of a sudden we view Josh Allen completely differently than we do Mahomes. So, or how we view them right now, as far as all-time status is concerned. So.
What I would say, I think, because I've been inconsistent on like the body of work versus last season, but I think with these top 4 My League quarterbacks, more than any, it was purely last season. Because that's why Mahomes is at 4, Burrow's at 3.
Because they're all
Allen
so great. It's like you kind of have
and
to
Lamar's
base on the most recent thing.
Because your points on the playoffs are 100% true. Like with Lamar, and the Titans with Ryan Tannehill beat the crap out of them. So like,
exactly,
I saw that. But like last season specifically going into 2025, I just felt like Lamar was the best quarterback in the NFL, and he had that kind of unlucky. Wasn't the best pass in the world, but Mark Andrews should have caught that.
Oh, yeah, he did.
And so so both of them have now had those tragic moments
they have.
Are going to keep handing Mahomes Super Bowl appearances.
And being completely candid, I'm a Colts fan. I don't think I've said that on this pod yet for new listeners. So of course I'm rooting for the Colts, but I know realistically we have absolutely zero chance. I want Lamar or Josh Allen to win it this year. I do. I want one of those two guys to win
Burrow.
it.
I'll throw Burrow out there.
Yeah, I'll throw Burrow, but even
those two haven't made it.
I know. I just feel like they haven't made it, and they just overall it just feels like, man, those guys they need one. They deserve one. They've done enough to have one at this point, but they have kind of gotten unlucky. I will say though, I keep kind of like harping on Lamar's postseason success. He was better last year in the postseason compared to previous years, because previous years he was pretty bad, in the postseason. I still think Josh Allen has been better even last year in the postseason. But yeah, again, it's like it's top 4 quarterbacks. I would start my franchise with any 4 of these top 4 guys. I think these are the most obvious tier on the list, Dakota.
Absolutely, and I think the beautiful part about it too is they're all 4 still relatively young. And I think that's
AFC, by the way, which is ridiculous.
That's tragic for us as fans, man. Yeah. Like any other AFC team fans, you can, for those 4, you all are, you're living high life constantly. But everybody else in the AFC, like
I'm
us,
so jealous of Bills fans.
I'm like, oh man, I got Cam Ward. Even if he's great, not good enough. Like that's not going to be enough. So you're going to have to go through typically a combination of at least 2 of these any postseason to get to a Super Bowl. And that's not including Justin Herbert. Yeah, it's not even including CJ Stroud, who's also in the top 10 with these. Like the AFC is loaded at quarterback, and it probably will be for the next 8 years with these 4 at the top. So
exactly.
Good luck anybody else. But yeah, I think those 4 are in a league of their own right now. They just are. And next year it'll be funny when we get to the end and we this, and I'm sure they'll probably still be the top 4, but the order will probably be different for both of us. They based purely on the 2025 season, I think.
Yep.
Because I think Burrow could sneak to number 1 on that.
And that's kind of our point this whole show, Dakota. If you go through our tiers, it's like within each tier, it's interchangeable. It really is. Yeah. Even in this elite, like Joe Burrow could be the best quarterback in the league next year. Patrick Mahomes could be the best quarterback in the league. Like if I had to make a future bet, like if I was on DraftKings or FanDuel and I was betting MVP, it would be on one of these top 4 guys. Maybe I'd throw Daniels in there as well, but it's like it would be on one of those top 4 guys, and it could be one of them any given season.
Absolutely, yeah. And to be honest, I think my bolder prediction right now, if I have to make hot takes, I'm believing in Burrow, man. Man, I don't believe in the Bengals, but I love Burrow.
I think it's Allen or Jackson's time. I really do. We'll see though.
Maybe regular season stat. Burrow's not winning a Super Bowl, but I think he could be in number 1 on the list. Is what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Is what I'm thinking. But man, that was our ranking all 32 quarterbacks in the NFL.
Feel free to flame us because I know there's gonna be a ton of disagreement in those middle tiers, and flame us. We're ready for it, dude.
We are.
Need the engagement.
We do. It was a lot of fun. I think we'll be bold enough. I kind of want to post these on our socials. So be sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook. Probably try to get on Twitter as well. But I think I'll try to do a little graphic with either, if I can fit all of them onto one for both of us, I will. If not, I'll do 2 separate posts. But I think we'll get these out there to draw that engagement, make people, yell at us. And again, reiterating, like, we are a show built on stopping takes, and this wasn't meant to be that. It's our subjective view of this with some objectivity in it. But yeah, this was fun. We'll see how it looks at the end of the year.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll have to revisit it. And yeah, we are trying to stop the takes, and I think we did that throughout the show. Like, like Herbert would rank way lower on a lot of lists. Dak Prescott would rank a lot lower on a lot of lists. We're trying to be honest with it, and there is a subjective element and an objective element, but yeah, and we're open to dialogue, man. Like, we're open to honest dialogue from fans. And like we said, a lot of these guys are going to be big movers on this list too. Like, a lot of these guys that we had in the 20s could be top 10 at the end of the year.
And you make up a really good point of open to the dialogue, because I think that's probably the biggest difference between what we're doing on this show and the hot take world. Hot takes, no amount of information changes anything, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you are set in your ways on this ridiculous thing that you have stated, but we're built on dialogue here. We want to talk about it. Give me the selling point on why you think things, and let's have open conversations. We got to have data and statistics and the analysis to back it up, but that's kind of the whole point of this. So I think it's a really good point. So yeah, that is our quarterback rankings for the 2025 NFL season. Appreciate everybody that watched this. Please like, share, subscribe. Definitely leave a comment on this one if you've watched the thing fully through.
Love to see get some comments.
Love to see the opinions out there and open some conversations. We'll definitely respond to them. So appreciate all the support. And until next time.
Thanks for talking ball with us.